Hello, guys. My name is Avery, but I go by Soavecito, and I'm a horror content creator. Welcome to episode 12 of Whispers of Horror. I'm doing this super late in the morning. It's 2:23 in the morning, just time zones and everything like that. But I'm super excited to talk about this game, Horror Tales: The Beggar, with the developer Carlos. Carlos, how are you doing on this morning?
Good morning. I'm fantastic, eager to talk about the game.
Awesome, awesome. We're just gonna straight into it, but I just wanted to get to know you real quick. Can you tell our audience just a little about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a solo indie game developer for more than 10 years, and I don't like to make the same game twice. So
Okay.
if you see my previous games, they are all very, very different. And I would even say that when I make a game with the next one, what I try to do is run away from that game as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I started doing first-person puzzlers. Then I did a very cute game about, swimming as a sea current in the ocean. I also experimented with horror, which is right now what I'm focused on.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, I even get to do Evil Known the Broken Mask, which I guess is my biggest project yet, a collaboration with Keplerians. Just working in the Evil Known IP was like a dream come true. It really is. It was a step up in
Congratulations.
my career, and because of that, I had to stop development in Horror Tales the Beggar because that project came halfway through the development of Horror Tales the Beggar.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I finished Evil Known the Broken Mask, and now I could finish Horror Tales the Beggar, and that's why it's going to be released on June 17th of this year on all consoles and PC, except of course Nintendo Switch.
Nice, nice. I'm looking very much into that. Playing that actually, so I can't wait to do that. And congratulations on working on Evil Nun: The Mask. I think that game's fantastic, and I look forward to seeing your game release. I think it has a very cool elements, and a lot of it is psychological and it's mind bending, and I just love to. We'll talk more and more about it because like when we get a chance. But what can I? You said you started about 10 years ago, like game development. Like at
Hmm.
what point did you decide that this is something that you want to do? And then it's a two-part question. What really got you into like the horror scene? Like what made you start making horror games? So I'm gonna
Mm,
repeat it. So basically, what made you start making games and doing game development, and then what made you go into the horror genre?
I was one of the lucky teenagers
Okay.
that actually knew what he wanted to do with his life. So
Nice, nice. I think that's
from very early on,
good.
yeah, it's super lucky actually. You think about it,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. I've always wanted to be a game developer. I didn't know I wanted to be an indie game developer. I just wanted to work for a big company,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually I started like going smaller, smaller. My first big project was not actually a game; was a mod for Left 4 Dead 2 called Barcelona,
Oh, okay.
and that shit went crazy. Like it's one of the most loved campaigns by the community. And then I say, hey, if I'm able to do this by myself, maybe I can make a game by myself, and that's how it started. How it started with horror, it's something that came like maybe 4 or 5 years later. It's like I've always liked horror games, but
Mm-hmm.
I've always felt that it's a genre where you could actually experiment and create new things because it needs some innovation basically, and that's where I want to step in. I started with a very small horror Metroidvania game called Infernium,
Okay.
which is still the best game I've ever developed. Period. This is a very strange game because it has mixed reviews on Steam, but there are only two kind of players: people who absolutely love it and think it's the best shit ever, and people who hate it to the bones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really made a very divisive game. And then with Horror Tales the Beggar, I the wine, the first in the Horror Tales saga. So with the wine, what I wanted to do is okay, let's try to make something that is horror, that is in a way very traditional horror. Jump scares, enemies chasing you, you cannot defend yourself. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, let's do it in daytime. and the entire game it's in a very beautiful paradisiac Mediterranean island in daytime. So that's what unique about that game, right? And then when then Evil Noon happened, that was not my project. That was working from someone else. But then with the continuation with Hotels de Beggar it's what I was telling you before. It's the opposite. It's like in Hotels de Beggar, I wanted to run away from traditional horror, and yeah, it's super experimental, like in many, many, many ways. I don't know if people are going to enjoy the game or not. I hope so, they do. But I do know that people are going to get surprised by the things the game proposes.
Yeah, no, I see it like just the different elements and just like I said, it's mind bending, like being able to change just the space. I think there's a lot of things going for it, and I'm excited. Like I said, it's just I don't know why, but just talking about it and just thinking about it, I literally got goosebumps. I can't explain it. I don't know if it's because I'm tired or whatever, but nah, I think like I said, I have a lot of aspirations for this game, and I just think it's just like speaking with just like the Horror Tales, the Wine, some of the games that you made. I think it's just the graphics are amazing, so I got to give it up to you. Like they're very visually pleasing, and just like it's not easy to make graphics like this. So I got to commend you for that. So I'm gonna switch scenes, so people can see the trailer. I'm gonna let you guys know on this that I'm gonna have Carlos back on when the game fully releases, and we'll do like a walkthrough and be able to talk about it more. And then it gives me a more in depth of like, hey, I can ask you, why is this here at this point? Like, what made you put this here? I can't wait for that. But that's something that we're gonna work on in the future. So just give me 10 seconds, and then we're gonna switch. All right, and then so right now we're gonna have the trailer be playing in the background. So people can see what it is, and then we're gonna just continue with the questions as well. Can you just give us an overview of your horror game? Like, what sets it apart from other horror titles on the market? I know you said that horror could definitely use some innovation. So how does your game innovate the market?
Well, I don't want to spoil too much,
Of course, of
but
course.
there are more than one monster in the game.
Ah, okay.
Also, in the indie horror, it's not usual that you can actually fight the monsters.
Yep.
You're usually just running away. Um, in this game, we have like 4 boss fights, and I think the I, what sets the game apart from other games is the fact that in any time you can do like this with your hand and change the day. So if it's nighttime, you can set the day in the game to daytime any day. You can convoke rain. You can make the skies clear. You can make a very beautiful sunset, and of course that's something that is used in the combats, in the puzzles, and in the progression of the players. And I think it's something very, very provocative about
Okay.
the game. If you're thinking about horror, you're not thinking daylight, of course, but the least thing you're thinking is that in the snap of your fingers that you can change to daytime in 5 seconds. So yeah, it's something like, okay, so where does the horror aspect of this game come from? That's something players will have to find in the game. But
Okay.
yeah, it's I think it's going to be very surprising for a lot of horror players.
Oh, that's what I love to hear. Like when the developers like you gotta find out why it makes it scary. Like that's concerning. Like I think
Well, actually,
not
in order
not in
to
a bad
one,
way. Not in a bad way. Sorry.
in order the one you won't it won't take more than 30 seconds to understand what makes it scary.
Yeah.
I promise you, the first 30 seconds, they are everything you need.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out Horror Tales the One. I'm gonna have to play that very soon and just get my own take on it. But I was gonna ask, like, so is like the horror, like obviously you use Horror Tales, like is this a series you're gonna continue, or like is it a series that you're working on, and is there gonna be more titles in the future? Like obviously we got the Wine, we're getting the Beggar in less than a month. Will there be more titles with Horror Tales under it?
Mm,
or is this just like a name that you just?
okay, so this is a bit sad, but
Okay.
it was going to be like 3 games in the series.
Okay.
Being the last one being the astronaut. By the way, the Beggar is a sequel of the Wine,
Mm-hmm.
so it's the same universe and it continues the story. But anyway, Horror Days the Astronaut was, I would say, semi-cancelled.
Oh, okay.
Why? Because I'm tired of horror.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make 3 games, and I make the Wine, Evil Nun, and the Beggar,
Mm-hmm.
and I just can I don't see myself 2 years more developing another horror game because it's going to be too much. It's going to be too much.
No, I totally understand that.
But don't worry, because people who love the Wine and the Beggar will get the closing of the story in a game called Iron Rage,
Okay.
which is going to have horror elements, but it's going to be more of a Half-like, like first-person shooter, but narrative, but
Mm-hmm.
very slow-paced. It's not going to be a Call of Duty by any means, and it's going to probably have a section similar to Ravenholm from Half-Life or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, but yeah. It's because have been saturated all these years making horror games. Now it's time for a change.
No, listen. I totally respect that. Is that like when you say like first person shooter, like Half-Life kind of thing? Is that something that you want to pivot to, or is there another genre that you want to make? Like basically what I'm asking is like, what is the direction you see yourself moving after you complete like obviously the game releases, moving forward?
I mean, I don't see myself going out too much of first person games.
Okay.
Like I love first person. I think it's amazing. But when I started my career, there was something very limiting, which is my technical skills. Like I could make beautiful or in a way realistic environments, but in the gameplay area, I was very limited because my coding skills were very limited.
Mm-hmm.
Very limited. Now I don't have that problem anymore, and uh, yeah, I grew up with Half-Life 2, Episode 1, Episode 2. We didn't get a proper Half-Life non-VR since, I don't know, 2007, and I think it's time to make something in the style, not in the universe, because of course I don't own the rights,
Yeah.
but in the style. I think it's a very interesting genre that there are a lot of people that now have grown and they love video games they don't even know about, and I think it's something I want to experiment in the next couple of years. After that, we'll see.
Okay, I totally get that. I think that's great. I wanted to just talk about. I know you brought it up with just like how you can change like the night and day of just the mechanics. Like, can we talk? Can we just elaborate more about that? So, to tell us about the gameplay mechanics that contribute to the overall horror experience. Like, how do you balance like the challenge and fright? Like, how do you do that with developing this game?
Well, it's actually self-balancing in a way. So,
Okay.
for example, there's this part of the game which happens in an Australian desert. I'm not going to spoil anything
Of
to
course.
anyone. Okay, it's right at the start of the game. But you're albino because you've been lots of years trapped in a cell. So you cannot traverse the desert because you're getting burned by the sun. So you need to go from shadow to shadow, and so it's very limiting. But then again, you gain the power to change the time to day, to night, or to sunset, whatever, and then you're instructed to go to a windmill in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
So if you change the desert to nighttime, it's obviously more scary. But at the same time, it's like a beacon of light going around in the windmill. So it's actually easier to see the windmill in nighttime than in daytime. So it's for the player's benefit to change it to night. Also, the enemy of the game is glowing.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean? It's easier to see him at night with everything is very dim except the green light that the enemy emits than it is actually to see it in daytime. and many things. Like it's not something visual. We have many mechanical parts of the game that also work with daytime or night or even the rain or even the fog. But I don't want to spoil those. But let's just say that you cannot beat some enemies at certain states of the day. So,
Which
so
is why you have to change it. Oh, that's sick. I think when I saw and that's when I first saw your trailer. I think that's what gravitated me to the game. The fact that you like the first 5 seconds, you just see somebody with a hand like this and changing the day to nighttime. I was like, it kind of makes you have like feel like you're overpowered, but obviously like when we experience the game, I'm sure you're not gonna have that mindset, or maybe you will. Like I guess I'm gonna just have to experience it for myself. But I definitely think just being able to just change like just different things of the atmosphere and the environment is gonna be just different. You know, usually people don't have that ability. So, but also to incorporate certain enemies, like you could see the enemy better at night or during the day, like you're gonna have some challenges against some other enemies. I think it's just super innovative. So I just like again, I'm not trying to fanboy over your game or anything like that, but I think it's just like just different. It's a different vibe that I get from just traditional horror games of jump scares and beautiful things and more jump scares. So I gotta give that up to you. Can I ask like what inspired you to create this particular horror experience? Like were there any specific like games, movies, literature, like anything that got you making this?
It was a bit self-inspired because the first game I made, it was called Mind Path to Thalamus, and it was a first-person puzzler game, kind of walking simulator. But guess what? You could change the night or the day. You could change. You could also change it, not in the same way you can do it here. But I was like, okay, can I steal from myself the same game mechanic from Mind Path to Thalamus and put it in a horror game?
Nice.
And it was like, well, that could actually be very interesting. And when I'm developing games, I'm developing them in my Twitch channel. I have a very small community, like 10,000 or whatever, and so I always show everything that I'm doing, when I'm experimenting, when I'm creating, when I'm in production. I show everything in my Twitch channel, and people were like, "Holy shit, this could be big! Like visually, this could be awesome, but in the gameplay that you could create with this could be great too." And that's it. That's why I started this project, because I saw that it would have potential. I don't think it's something innovative in the horror genre, because this only worked for this game. I don't see like many games from now in the future, like like making the changing of the day to the night or whatever. But I think it's something very unique for this game, and I think it's something super unique that people are going to remember. It's not a very long game, but it's a very intense game. It's something that from start to finish, there's always something happening and there's no filler.
Okay, all right. I can, like I said, I can hear the passion and just excitement for when you talk about the game. That like I just, like I said, I can't wait to play it. I literally can't. We talked a little bit just atmosphere and everything like that. Like how did you approach like the atmosphere and setting to sorry, I apologize. It's late. I'm not gonna be perfect. It's 2:42 in the morning. But how did you approach crafting the atmosphere and like just the setting overall in this horror to like invoke fear or tension, or just like you said, like that adrenaline throughout the game?
Okay, so something very important. Again, it is explained right in the beginning of the game, and it's kind of the mystery. So in Horror Tales, the Beggar, it's like the world broke.
Okay.
It literally broke. Imagine like the chunk of your neighborhood broke, and then a forest from Italy broke, and they kind of are like together in little chunks in the wall. But everything is mixed up. That's why you can find an Australian desert next to a Chinese city, or next to a part of Barcelona, and everything like that.
Yeah. So it's like the world is like in fragments and everything like that.
Yeah. You can see it in the trailer that everything is like totally fragmented.
Yeah.
And then recombined together. And why that happened? Could it happen again? It's part of the of the lore of the game or the story of the premise of the game.
Okay.
But it also helped me like set up this huge environment where you feel like just a speck and you're traveling between chunks of the world, and the player is like, constantly like, okay, what's going to be next? What's going to be next? What's going to be next? Because it's a game with a lot of variety. And
Could you say like unpredictable too as well? Would you?
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
because so for example, it allows us to right after the Australian desert, there's a Buddhist part in Thailand,
Mm.
but they are like 100 meters apart. It's
Okay.
not something. It's not something you find in any other game, and that makes the player just want to progress just for the sake of seeing more or wanting more.
Okay. All right. So sound is very important in just games
Yeah.
in general. The sound design in horror game, like I said, is for immersion. So could you share some insight about your approach to creating chilling and audio events, elements? Like, how did you come up with certain sounds and just music in general?
Well, in the sound area of the game, I guess the most important part was the sound of enemies,
Okay.
and also the sound of changing the night to changing the space time.
Okay.
Let's just say that has to feel super powerful because I want you to feel as a player. I want you to feel overpowered. That's that's kind of interesting. That's something you brought to the table because
Yeah.
it's one of the themes of the game.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil more, but
No, no, no.
it definitely is one of the themes of the game.
You're giving enough.
And so that's how I approach sound, and then of course environmental sound, super important. Like the game has music, but I think that one of the best things a horror game can do is don't implement music or constant music and let the environment speak by itself. And the environments in Horror Tales, the Beggar, they are so desolated, they are so unique that the sound of the environment has a lot of texture. It has a lot. Okay, believe me, I have 50 loops of sounds of empty rooms, 50 different rooms.
50?
50
Okay.
empty rooms with nothing going on,
Okay.
with absolutely nothing going on.
Yeah.
But of course, one room is in a city, another room is in a tunnel, another room is near, some computer room or whatever, and they all sound slightly different, but they are different,
Okay.
totally different. So yeah, the game has a lot of texture in the sound that I think people are also going to enjoy. Also, the original soundtrack, I think it's amazing.
Okay.
But just the sound of the little sounds that people don't perceive, I think those are what
It's the little
gives
things.
life to
It's
the.
yeah.
Exactly.
When talking about that, two games come to mind that do a great job at not letting music dictate the game and letting the environment speak for itself. I'm not trying to compare anything, but I just like to bring it up because like I think it's a great envision of what people should expect. I love the game BioShock, just because it kind of does the same thing. It lets you. It's Rapture. Rapture looks like shit. Like it went to shit. Like there's things. There's creaking. There's water like being splashed in from just cracks. There's things falling apart because it literally went to shit. Another game that dictates that too is Dead Space. Dead Space is a game that could have complete silence from no music at all, but you hear pipes bursting, you hear people screaming, you hear machinery breaking down, and all of that is important because that is telling the story. So that's what my mindset went to this game, but like as you said, you had 50 different rooms of just random sounds going, and I think just having that element is just another thing that might put this game over the edge over some other games. Which again, I keep bringing it up because I'm not lying. When I say I'm excited about this game, ladies and gentlemen, I am. I think just being able to like the graphics and just being able to feel like you're overpowered and just having this different environments. I can't wait for it. Speaking about the game more, what role do narrative and storytelling play in your horror game? How do you engage players with the narrative while keeping the suspense alive? I know you without giving too much, because you want people to experience.
So this is like an onion, okay? So
Okay.
there's the thing that everyone's going to get. There's another character, which is the drone, and he has a mission for you. The reasons or why or whatever, I'm not going to spoil it, but that's you have to go from here to there for whatever reason. That's it. That's the first layer of the onion. Then there's a second layer of the onion that is why this needs to happen. What are the reasons of the drone? Who are you? Why are you there? And this is explained partially by the drone, partially by environmental narrative. Then there's a third reason, which is what the fuck happened to the world? Why is everything like that? And then there's the fourth layer. How does this connect with Horror Tales, the wine? Because, bottles of wine also play a very big part in this game. And everything from the first game has consequences that people can see in this game. Let's just leave it there.
Okay. So I'm gonna just say, people, if before the Beggar comes out, go play the wine, because it's
Or the free demo of the Beggar. It's free.
Yeah,
It's free
yeah.
for everyone.
Absolutely. Wishlist it. The game's coming out June 17th. If I'm
Yeah.
yeah. Look at that perfect memory. Didn't even have it up. Just sorry. Like I knew it was the 16th or the 17th. I had like a 50-50 chance of getting it right. But yes, the game will be out June 17th, and it's on Steam. The demo's free. Go try it out. Make your own opinion. And go from there. I wanted to ask, just like, will the game have some replayability? Like, and as well as like, could you let us know how long the game will be?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't
Sure.
think this is a game you should buy for replayability.
Okay.
You buy it for the experience, and it's
Sure.
a short one.
Okay.
So it's going to be out the 17th. It's going to be 17 euros, but I'm going all in with this game. So 40% discount on release.
Oh
40.
wow, that's 40%, ladies and gentlemen. Go
40%.
support.
It's not going to be like that for a year or two, but I'm going all in.
Okay.
Duration, I'd say 4 hours
Okay.
is more or less. But again, it's very intense 4 hours, and it's going to be something that it's going to stick with you. Like you'll want to hopefully talk about the game to your friends, and even if it's not replayable but it's not replayable in the same way that many great games are. Like, for example, constantly going to the same example, but Half-Life 2, is it really replayable? I mean,
Yeah, I get that.
you could replay it, but it's not a roguelike, it's not an open world or something like that, right? So yeah, it's very traditional. Don't buy this game if you think you're going to get something very replayable, because that's not what you're going to get. What you're going to get is a very intense experience that it's going to stick with you for hopefully many, many years.
Okay, perfect. I wanted so just came up with a question, because there's a game that kind of is getting a little flack called I don't know if you know Senna Saga Hellblade 2.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
People are getting and the price for that game was $50.
Yeah.
People were kind of complaining about it due to the length of it. Just being 6 hours, and I wanted to get your opinion, because like obviously you said your game is 4 hours, about that. When designing and making this game, like, what is your mindset? Would you rather make something that is around that length, 4 hours, 5 hours, but you make it as amazing as possible, or are you looking to make a game that is longer for a person to experience and be immersed for more than that? It's if you understand that question, it's kind of hard to word it, but I just wanted to see.
It is true. Like, when you're an indie developer, you don't have huge budgets. You don't have infinite resources. So you have to, let's just say, you have to be very careful with what you want your game to be that other games are not.
Okay.
And if you want to compete with other games in terms of length, you're fucked. Why? Because, AAA games, they are going to destroy you. Like, there are AAA games that have more filler. There are another ones that, are really long and really amazing, like, for example, Elden Ring or whatever. But you cannot compete there because you're going to lose all the time. It's just a matter of budget and time. So what you have to do is try to compete in areas where you can win, because at the end of the day, people need to choose. What do I want to buy? Maybe not Hellblade 2, but what do I want to buy? The next Resident Evil or Horror Tales the Beggar? And how do we get a little bit of these people who play Resident Evil games to buy our indie games? And being unique is a must.
Okay.
Like, you have to be unique. And for me, you have to be intense. Like, no filler, and just don't try to do a lot of things very well. Just try to do one or two things, but make them excellent. So people who like this or that, they are going to super enjoy your game. Okay. And for me, that's the key thing. Like, don't try to overshoot or try to make lots of mechanics, lot of system, whatever. No, just grab 2 or 3 systems and make them amazing and as polished as possible.
Okay, perfect. Something that is super important too, like to notice, like when you brought up the AAA title companies, they have a lot more. They have a team, like a bigger team. They have all these resources in their pocket, which makes them be able to produce games for longevity and just longer playing time and stuff like that. So just wanted to let people know that, it's not easy just to be a developer, indie developer, because you don't have those things that AAA titles do. But again, which shows like how much work and effort you put in just your games, just again like visually and just like the mechanics and all that stuff. You came out with multiple games, but which kudos to you. So I wanted to another important thing about just not only making a video game is the business aspect of it. How is your process of like marketing your game and just getting the word out to the masses to build up hype and to build up exposure so people can know about your game and also get excited for it?
So after many years releasing many games, I still don't know shit about marketing. I don't know. It's the aspect that I hate the most about the game. And usually what is happening with my games, it's something very funny, because not a lot of people know my games, and it's okay. But once they release, they kind of spiral, and more people know about the game.
Like word to mouth, in a way.
And talk about it. Yeah, exactly, because people... So... It's very interesting, because something you said before, it's something that happens to me that is a bad thing. So when you say your games look fantastic, I know you're saying that because in part you know that they are developed by myself. But I have some trouble, because I know that this kind of visuals don't seem indie. And so people who don't know that these games are done by one single person, they're like, well, looks like shit. Why? Because you are comparing me with The Last of Us, The Last Dead Space, or whatever.
All these games that have a big like people, like exactly. The team.
and actually, it's not their responsibility to know that this game is made by a single guy with 2 cats.
Of course.
No, that's not it. Cats. But at the same time, it's kind of unfair in a way that I get compared with those games with bigger budgets and bigger resources and whatever, right? So then the release happens. Then people see that my games are cheap. They are not sold by $50 by any means. And then people, this indie game, this is very small, but at the same time, it looks very good. They buy the games, and then they're like, okay, so this is not only a visual thing, so the gameplay is interesting. And then the word of mouth to mouth starts, and everything kind of spirals. But I have no idea about marketing. This is the first time I've done a demo, and it's working pretty well.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it.
I'm not gonna let it slide that you said I'm an indie developer with two. You said two cats?
Yeah, two cats, two beautiful cats that are sleeping right now. I don't know where.
No, it's okay. I think listen. I thought that was the funniest shit you said. But I think that's amazing. But no, which well, I'm still on the cats. Like, what kind of cats and what are the names?
So I have two. They're street cats. I don't
they're
know,
cats.
like they're not any race. I have a black cat called
Okay.
Noose,
News.
which
Okay.
he's like Noose, Noose. He's like the he's very slim and very long.
Okay. Okay.
It's amazing.
Okay.
And then I have it's like a Tim Burton cat. And then I have Nina. She's the opposite. She's fat. She is a Disney cat, brown strips and
Okay.
your usual cat. But they get along very well.
That's
They're
good.
not here.
Oh, it's totally fine. I think it's because I have cats too. And I have a black cat and I have a tabby cat.
Yeah.
Chi is the tabby cat, and then I have one called
Okay.
Milo. And every night and every day they just drive me insane. So like, and they fight with each other, but like it's more like play fighting.
Yeah.
But
Like mine. Yeah.
as a person that has cats, I just had to ask. I think, but again, a little bit back to the marketing thing. Like, when I created Whispers of Horror, it's kind of
Yeah.
funny story. I was in the hospital, which is it's
Okay.
weird. It's weird how you get inspiration from just weird events in your life. So I was in the hospital and I was bored. Like I was trying to figure out like how to innovate just me and just be unique. Like how you said you want to be different. Like horror is so saturated with content creators. It's just like
Yeah.
what will make you stand out from the masses? Which you like your game is more intense and all these different elements and environment. For me, I wanted to create Whispers of Horror to be able to talk to like horror game developers, horror movie producers, and horror content creators, all on more of a personal level, And as a way of, this is a way of marketing too. I'm giving you my audience as well to be able to show you who like the process of building your game and just again getting to know you on a personal level because not a lot of people get to see the people who make the games in that aspect. They just see a name. So I wanted to take that name and just put a face to it. So that's why I created Whisper of Horror. And also like I love talk about horror games and all these different things. Like why not just talk to the people who are making it, who are passionate about making it. So like, and that's why when I truly say like I give you congratulations, I mean it, and I really am excited about your game because you're one person. You did this like by yourself and with all the like I don't even want to know how many hours, which I'm probably gonna ask. I'm gonna ask that in a minute, but it just shows like the blood, sweat, and tears you put into it in the process and the sacrifices you had to make, and it shows. This is your art, and I want to be able to be a platform and a voice to show that to as many people as I can. So again, I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your day in this early morning to be a part of this. It's a beautiful thing, and I can't wait to play the game when it fully releases and have you talk all the shit that you couldn't say before.
Yeah.
But a little bit back into just like I said, the process. This kind of leads into my next question. Like, what are some of the challenges you faced during development, either creativity or technically, and how did you overcome them? So before you answer that, so I kind of want what is the hot let's break it into two things. So when what is one of the highlights you've done like developing this game? And what it was like one of the most challenging moments when you were developing this game.
So I think the best part of it, I'm going to answer the other way around first.
Okay.
The last one.
Sure.
I think the best part of the game is the final boss. I
Okay.
think it's going to be very surprising. I have not shown a lot of it in the trailer, so just try to keep it a surprise when you play
Sure.
the game.
Okay.
But that's something people is not going to expect, something amazing, and something that it's going to be very satisfactory to play and to beat. On the other hand, my cats are fighting in the other room too.
Oh, I manifested it.
Yeah, indeed. So, in the other hand, the most challenging part was the story. So the story was a complete mess. Since 1 year ago, and people were playing it, and it was like the story was like okay, but I don't want the story to be okay, and I have to redo a lot of it, but a lot of it. There's the most important character in the game, which is the drone, didn't even exist. It's something that I have to, close myself in a room for some days and okay, let's rethink everything, let's connect this with that, or let's redo everything. So it makes more sense and it's more appealing to the players, and that was very hard to do, very very hard to do. But at the end of the day, I think it's a very satisfactory story.
Okay, all right, awesome. I know you talked about. I had the game up. I want to reference it. Inferium, and how the like just the mixed reviews on it. So community engagement is vital for the success of indie games. How do you involve your audience in the development process, and how do their reactions influence your decisions? So like when you first saw how mixed was that, like how did that make you feel with it, and then like and how did that make you? How did you use that to create some the future games that you made or making?
So, for example, with Infernium, it's very interesting because I think that the game having mixed reviews is a good thing. So, let me explain. You know who Bennett Flutie is?
Say it again.
Bennett Flutie.
I
He's the
don't
creator
think
of
so.
Getting Over It. You remember this game about a dude in a pod with a maze that has to go up a mountain?
Oh, okay, yeah,
One
yeah,
of
yeah.
those impossible games.
Yeah.
He's kind of a tweet start in the game dev Twitter genre. And the year Infernium release, he was like, this is my GOTY, my personal GOTY, this is amazing. I've played a lot of AAA games, I've played a lot of indie games, and nothing has made me feel as much as this game has.
Nice.
And people were responding like, are you serious? He was like, yeah, I am serious. So that's the kind of fans I have with Infernium. They're like super fans or people who just don't get it.
Okay.
From that, of course, I just receive direct feedback developing my games live on Twitch. So that helps a lot because, if something smells bad, you know it on the spot because you have an audience watching everything and spoiling the whole game too, but that's something that happens. And then you gain trust and from the players. That's it. Like a lot of people who play the wine are going to buy the Beggar because they enjoyed the first game and they want more. That's a very big part of marketing too. Yeah.
Okay, I totally get that. Damn, what's my? I got stuck for a second. I relapsed. No, I totally agree. I just community engagement is something beautiful. Like you said, people who love the wine will get the Beggar because like it's a continuation of the story, and they're gonna look forward to it because it's the sequel or like part of it. What was I had one more question and it just like spaced on me. So 5 years from now, what are some of the goals? Like obviously you've been making video games for 10 years. Like what do you see yourself in 5 years, and what goals would you like to accomplish in that span? I know 5 years is a long time, but people could have goals.
In 5 years, I really want to try to work with another studio again. It was a very awesome experience with Evil None the Broken Mask, and I'm eager to do that again. And aside from that, I know I'm not going to make more horror because I've done like 3 games.
Totally get it.
Four out of my 7 games are horror, and that's enough. But I don't know. I really don't know where I'm at. I'm happy and things are flowing. That's enough.
Honestly, short and sweet. I think that's amazing. Yeah, like sometimes you just have like as long as you know, like you want to keep making games, and even if it's different from just horror, like I think that's truly amazing. Like for me, like I think I have three goals as my content creating is like I would I don't know why, but I really want to be in a horror video game. Like I want to be like
Okay.
a character. So maybe that's another way. Like I like just be talking to these developers and just put that little sprinkle in their ear. But like, yo, if you ever want to make me a character, I would love that. And then
I
I
mean, I
will.
can make you a character, but I can put a graffiti of you of Soavecito in the game. That's
Hey,
it.
listen, I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna say no. I think that would be great. But yeah,
Okay.
that's one of my aspirations. My second one is I always wanted to like not even be an actor, but I always wanted to be in a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like horror game like these are like footnotes into like the world. This is like my stamp into when I pass. Like I will always be in this. Like they just when you think about a video game, it's on once something's on the internet, it's kind of there forever. So I see your cat in the background, both of them.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They're fighting here now. Lose? No, they win.
No, it's good. Yeah, so like I said,
Sorry.
they're different. They're my ways of putting my foot, leaving my imprint on the world. So like I would love to just even if I was an extra or just a 1 second person in a movie, that would be amazing for me. Even a video game, that would just be like from a kid that just played video games all of his life to be an actual character would just be something that would make me cry. And then the third thing is I don't know. I'm not a sneakerhead or anything like that, but I'm big into zombies. I'm big into like I even got
Okay.
Soavecito tattooed on me with
Okay.
just all different zombie parts. I would love to have a zombie sneaker for like a Halloween for with Adidas. So like that's one of the biggest dreams I would do, like to create my own sneaker based off a horror theme, and like the three stripes would be like the zombies scratches. Yeah, those are the biggest things. Like and I feel like those are aspirations that drive me, and just be able to just keep in that horror thing. Just like again, it would be those three footnotes. So that's why I hope I can do in 5 years. But yeah, I think it's just something that drives us to push for our goals and just make content, or just make art. Um, as an indie developer, if somebody, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to be an aspiring game developer who wants to create their own horror games, or just fuck that, just games in general?
It's the same. Don't make long games. Make short games, and make short game
Yeah,
with short development cycles.
yeah.
Like first, start making a game that will take you 3 months to make,
Okay.
and then the next one 4 months, and the next one 6 months. Because if you start a game that takes you 2 years to make, and then that game is a failure, you're fucked, and that's it. That's your indie career because you are going to have life expenses
Mm-hmm.
and you cannot get rid of those. So there's no plan B. So make short games, and if they fail, don't worry, make another short game. That's it.
Okay. Which I'm glad you brought up like you had life expenses. Like how like as an indie game developer, like how do you balance your regular life and being an indie developer? Like what are some of the things that you are struggling with? What are some things that are you're still working on? Like what is that process like between like balancing that?
So obviously, when you're a game developer, and especially solo indie game developer, you don't really ever disconnect.
Okay.
And that's something that, for example, now I'm starting to make like therapy with my girlfriend, in-house therapy. Like, okay, Sandra, we have another game release in a month. I'm going to be in the shit. I'm going to work in hours that I should not work. It's going to happen all over again. Let's not argue. Let's be kind to each other because it's a very painful psychological
Yeah.
process to
Say some
release a
nice
game.
things. If say some nice things so she knows that because she might watch this in the future. You just say like
No, 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 she's
yeah.
amazing. She's amazing, and she's super supportive.
There you
But
go.
uh,
There you
but
go.
but
Keep going.
but of course, like usually in a day-to-day basis, I only develop when she's at work. So
Okay.
when we finish our work, we still have time together.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. But of course, for the release of a game, you have to be 24/7 for the first week, and those are the hard weeks. Uh, but yeah, it's a process. It's something that just happens, and it goes with the work.
Okay. Have you ever experienced anything? So, as a streamer, experienced like a burnout, where I just need to take a break from just
Oh
making
yeah.
content and everything like that. Like, how have you experienced it, and how do you overcome not stepping away completely? Like, again, there's times where I just like I don't know if I want to do this anymore, and just like I take a month or two. Like I said, I was in a hospital, and just hot like just being able to balance life and everything is just it's hard to do your art and just live life in general. So so two-part question: have you experienced burnout making video games, and how did you overcome it?
So there's two kind of burnout. So you have the burnout of I'm tired of making games.
Hmm.
That's usually a good sign that you need holidays. That's it.
Okay.
And there's the other burnout that is I'm tired of making this kind of games. And the solution is making another kind of games. That's
Okay.
it.
Hmm. No, I totally get that. I totally get that. Yeah, yeah. Just if something's burning you out, do something different. It's just simple as
It
that.
is it is hard. I mean, I know it's simple to say, but once you are in there and the trees don't let you see the forest,
Mm.
it's something hard that takes a lot of courage to do. But because you're just flowing from hour to hour, from day to day, and you don't realize what's wrong, and
Hmm.
that's why holidays are also super important because when you travel, especially I don't know why, but when you travel out of your country, it's like you can see your problems with perspective. I don't understand why, but when you're far away, it's like you see your life there with perspective, and then you're like, why do I worry about this or why do I worry about that? The solution, you see things more clearly just with the perspective of distance.
Mm.
I
It's like
understand
yeah.
it's not something everyone can do, but if you can travel during your holidays, even if it's by car or whatever, just do it because it's going to help you realize what things you need to change in order to have better years in the future.
Yeah, I mean, when you say something like that, I feel like it's like once you step away from the problems, you can see it more clearly. Because when you're in the thick of it, you're like it's harder to see, being a person being outside of the box. But when you leave that, then you like you said, you have a better perspective. I'm definitely gonna utilize that and travel. Like I said, I want to travel as much as I can, but yeah, sometimes you just need that break and everything like that. Um, so we got like 5 minutes left, but I wanted to ask
Okay.
finally, could you share anything? Is there anything you want to share with like new people that are hearing you, or like people who are following you? Like, is there anything that you want to share? Tips, future things that you might work on, or just anything in general? The floor is yours.
So for an indie developer like me, the most important thing is the mouth to mouth. So there's a free demo of Horror Tales the Beggar for everyone to enjoy. Go play it, please. Like most people don't play games because they don't know the game exists.
Mm.
So please go play the demo of Horror Tales the Beggar. Go enjoy yourself. If you enjoy it, go talk to your friends, and that's the most important thing you can do. In the future, there's a Half-Life coming called the Iron Rage,
Mm.
and we'll see. We'll see in the future.
All right, perfect, perfect. I just want to bring up one point too. Like, um, in the past, I feel like a lot of people, video game developers, were putting out so many demos. Like, I don't know, man, I think it was like 2000s, 2010s.
Yeah.
Every time you would get a demo on like the consoles and PCs, and for some reason, I feel like a lot of developers have stepped away from that. I don't know why. Maybe there's a resurgence, but it gave you a little taste of what to come for the game. Um, and even if the demo was 10, 15 minutes, it was just like just being able to just be able to test it and be like, oh, this game's for me, or oh, maybe this game's not for me, is super important, because like a trailer only tells you so much. I've seen so many amazing trailers that the game, no offense to the developers who make, no shade to any developers, but the game was just not for me, or like the game was just not what the trailer showed. But being able to play a demo just gives you like at least enough to make up opinion on that. So I think it's awesome that you have a demo. Everybody go check out the demo. Carlos, thank you so much for being a part
Thanks
of
to
Whisper
you,
of
Soavecito.
Horrors. Like I said, I hope everybody go wishlist the game. The game comes out on June 17th. And just go play the demo. Go make your own opinion and leave your comments. Like everything helps these developers. By the way, like all the feedback gives them more insight to update the games and do everything they can to make the game as pleasing for fans and also them too. So like I said, go follow. Wait, do you still stream on Twitch? Do you still like do?
Yeah, I'm going to do it like in an hour, but
Okay.
it's in Spanish. It's in Spanish.
That's totally fine. People speak Spanish too. Like it's not an unknown language. Which I will do is I'm gonna get all that information from you. I'm gonna put that in the description of all my platforms. And yeah, I want to support as much as I can. Like I said, we're gonna make some plans in the future to be able to when the game fully releases that I can play it, do a walkthrough, maybe I don't know, an hour and a half of just like the game, and then I can ask you some more in-depth questions about it while having you on it, which is another experience that not a lot of people get to do it. Again, thank you so much, Carlos. I appreciate you.
Thanks to you for inviting me to Whispers of Horrors.
Yeah. Everybody, this is episode 12 of Whispers of Horror. I just want to say thank you guys for listening. Follow your boy on all platforms. Follow Carlos on his platforms. And go wishlist the game and go play the demo. Stop playing with us. And guys, have a beautiful morning, night, evening, wherever you are in the world.